Welcome to EVE Online. Just a quick thing about buying. I noticed something on Singularity and I want to test it on Tranquility to see if it's actually in place. So, alright. So I went in and I set my search for this station only. I'm going to try that. Try this. I always used to hate doing it that way because it always seemed to want to sell me something like billions of light years away. So region, buy, and Wero. Now I've got Wero. I changed the folder of Steam and it basically screwed up all my stuff. But my settings. So sorry, give me a sec. Can't speak. So I haven't set it so it's defaulted for price. Now I'm going to try jumps. And I'm going to try that again and see if it goes to Bashakra. No, it's set. Now, it would be nice if I could set it for, distance for wherever I want. But I noticed on Singularity that when you're undocked and you do this, it asks you which station you want, which blew me away. It was like, wow, I can actually, quickly buy something and then choose and then be done with it. And just because I know, I'm near a mark and I just, or I'm near a station I know I trust and it's going to happen. So I just freaking buy it and I don't care. I can check the price and it does not look ludicrous and just do it. Right. So we'll open up there and we will buy. What? It's a buy order. Frickin' what? Oh, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? So it's not what I thought it was. Because I think this character has the necessary... Yeah, my intuition was pegging me when I read that. I was like, it's relay. So it's actually a buy order. Damn it. Well, but no one is selling. Oh, that's interesting. What's my skill level on that? I don't think it's very high. It might be. Give me a sec. Trade. Procurement? Five jumps. How far away is Zamar? I think it's pretty far from here. Okay, never mind. We'll buy. And we'll go... Yeah, Amar's 6 jumps. Damn it. So what we'll do is... We'll try it because I think maybe... Oops, sorry. I think maybe... It just... So let's try this. Buy. Go to Amar. Amar. Oh, it's only list... Is it only listing stuff within range? Yeah, okay. Alright, so it's just only going to list, 4 jumps. So we'll get our handy-dandy procurement. How much is it going to cost me? Screw it. Might as well do it. Who cares? Get that up. Done. Ooh, nice place. Might as well, right? Been a while since I actually looked into stuff with armor layering. I think it's only with the module, right? Oh, the massive penalty rate, whatever. What do you freaking do? Okay, let's set in, so let's buy. So MR should be right there. It is. Okay, MR. In 1949, it should be the lowest price there, right? There. Cool. Okay, so procurement will actually allow you to buy it right now, not just place a buy order. That's interesting. I never knew that, actually. It's funny. Let's read that again. What does this description say? Just bring it up here. Remote buy orders. That's what I thought it was, a buy order, but you can actually direct remote purchases require no skill. Oh, how I read that wrong. So yeah, you can do it that way if you want. And it'll go, yeah, it'll go lowest price no matter what setting you do. If you go region, it's going to look for the cheapest price. But if you're in space, it gives you the option, which is so utterly fraught with confusion, of course. You know, my noob days, and even now, I was like so confused about it. It's like the wording was just freaking horrible, and especially if you're docked. Oh, yeah. Hang around a low sec outside station.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Yay, brilliant me. Alright, so yeah, I mean, you go buy, and it just doesn't even give you the option. It just says, you know, it's going to be the lowest price in the area, which is the closest, which is bam. So insanely silly. Yeah, that's why most of the time I just go view market details, it just pick the station and I buy it, and I don't bother with the buy, because, you know, it gives you the choice. And it's the weird thing is, and here's the thing, when I first started this video, when I spotted this in space by selection, I thought it was outside of skill, that they'd done something to allow direct, immediate, non-buy order, you know, corporate or your personal buy orders. You know, when you say, I want so-and-so, and I'm just going to wait till the buyer appears, right? It's not that. I thought when you undocked, you could just click it, no skill needed, choose the station, bam, it goes to lowest order, lowest price at that station chose, and you buy and done. And I was like, hey, that's great. So it's got a skill tied to it. That's great, but you have to be in space to take advantage. Otherwise, it's not going to give you a choice. And this is really weird, because I swear to God, I just... Oh, right, because... Sorry, singularity. I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah. So it'll give you the lowest price, bam, done. Closest, lowest price, done. When you're docked, but when you're in space, it gives you a choice. But you need the skill, which is so utterly bananas, because if you're docked, you should just be able to... Why isn't it giving you the choice? Why isn't it showing you? Because if this is, because when you're a noob, right? When you're a noob and you go buy, I have done this so many times. I buy it and I'm not really reading, because it's like I'm busy, I'm thinking, I just don't pay attention. And I've bought it, and it's freaking in low sec probably at a station well, I don't think you can see it if you don't have access. But anyways, it's way the hell out there, and I'm not even noticing it. I look in and I go, oh, I didn't buy it. So I do it again, catch my area eventually, and going, oh, crap. And, you know, I've got my assets thing looking like a dog's breakfast. The developers don't give a crap. Obviously, they don't, because they haven't fixed it, you know. But it's like, why, if it's tied to skill, allow us to do it when we're docked in station without a skill, or force us to use a skill, because if you don't have procurement, which isn't given to you by default, it'll tell you you can't remote buy, or you need to be in space to do that, or what it should do. It should just, if you don't have the skill, it'll just tell you, and you go, oh, cool, I need a skill to do that, instead of, as a noob, you're buying something which you probably have next to no savings to get, and you're like, oh, there's an error, why I can't, what went on, and you have to buy it again, and it's just ridiculous, until you realize you have to look at market details to avoid getting screwed, right? Just like JITA, right? Basically, CCP is being a douchebag JITA by doing this. They should honestly have done this so many moons ago. I just noticed by accident today, because I've never done it that way, because it's like it always screws up my orders. So it's more safe to go market details. So why it look at it this way? They won't, but let's say they do the change. This what happens: you're in station, and you go by this type, and you get, let's find a character without the skill. I don't think, okay, cool. So, and you get this error, which you've seen the video. I'm just doing it again, just for flow reasons. So you're in a station, you go buy this type, you don't have the skill, as assuming you're a noob or whatever, first time you realize it, you go buy this type, and it goes, current skill level only allows you to place arbitrary. That's such an idiot error message, because arbitrary bid, I believe, is what their code for placing a buy order. When you go and place a buy order, like freaking place buy order, right? And then you go blah blah blah, one day, or most people just go 3 freaking months, and you go click. And of course, the Singularity, the way it works is just, I'm at the station, so yeah, whatever. But yeah, that is what people expect. Oh, okay, well, this is a skill that only is applicable to future buyers, not immediate buyers. And it's just worded so stupidly. What did he? Yeah, wait a minute. What do they even mean by arbitrary bids? Did they even talk about what an arbitrary? Maybe I've got it wrong all this time. And arbitrary means both instant and remote, right? It's just so ridiculous. So anyways, you get an error message about you don't have the skill level. Remember, when I've got, say, where do I need to be? I need to be, how do I get the error message that I don't have the skill level for it? That was probably the error message. I can't force it to go, you don't have the skill level to reach that. It just gives you a list of targets and range. And then once you do that, you can get an instant buy order. And it's like, yeah, it's just. Anyway, so what it should do when you, I can't even get the system to work properly. what it should do when you go to the buy order, you get that error message. You go buy this type, you're in station. It'll say your current skill level does not allow you to place does not allow, like, remote. I swear I'll have to look at the video again and well, you just backtrack. I'll probably timestamp it for the error message, but it's like, I swear I saw an error that said current skill level only allows you to place arbitrary bins in system, and then I just kind of ramped it up. It was with Seneche I was doing it with, right? And I just ramped it up until I got ranged. I'll look at that error message, and it's like, in fact, I'm probably gonna make this. No, I'll just keep it public. I'll probably just write in the description, because it's just so complicated what I'm trying to say. It should be simple, but the system's not making it easier for me. Okay, so, and this is the first time I bumped into this, so I'm probably all over the place and inefficient in my explanation. But basically, you click buy order. You don't have the skill. You'll get the error message that says your current skill level does not allow remote buying. Wait, this is stupid. Backtrack. Let's start this all over again. I'm just thinking of the procurement skill, right? If you have 0 procurement skill, right? If you have 0 procurement skill, like level 0, you haven't even got it. You can buy. You can do this. What it should do is go buy this type, and you should be able to get a pop-up list, like a pop-up list, just like this, of just the station you're at. It should just pop up the station when you have no skill. Even if you're docked, it'll pop up where you want. It should, because if you're at the station, I hardly go, I want to place a buy order, because I don't trust it. I just go into market details. Why wouldn't I? You know? I just don't trust it. And not only that, I'll get to in a bit. So basically, you're buy this type, it'll pop up. You're docked at station, it'll only give you that station pop up. You click it, you move on. You buy it, boom, done, right? Right? So, how the hell? All right, sorry, wait a minute, somebody, okay, never mind. Somebody just playing the market as usual. I hate market games. Okay, but it's helpful for me. Anyway, so yeah. So you pop it up, it'll go choose your station, you go click Amar, it would be nice to have that. It would be also nice, once they've got this set, to be able to set it by default. If the system, see, the thing is, if you get this pop-up for the station you're docked at, this will be, if you could name it properly, when you go buy order, it should actually read remote. Well, if you call it remote buy this, it'll confuse noobs. So you just buy this type, and it'll pop up with your skill, docked or not. And if you have 0 skill, you'll get a pop-up for that. It's, there we go. How many clicks does this take? It goes 1, 2, 3, right? And if we were to go this route, we would go, just you're docked at the same station, buy this type, click on the same station. I'm just pretending this is the same station, whatever. Then you go okay, then it goes pops up, and it goes simple, blah, blah, blah. You'd be at the station, say MR, and you go buy. All right. So let's try that again, assuming that going simple it'll remember I want to go simple. So it's just whatever. So close, simple, that's perfect. So bam, it goes, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So takes a little bit more. So you obviously you're stocked at station, you want to go market, but it would be nice to have the option, the control, and the lack. It's like, what, I didn't know I could do this. I thought it was remote. It was for traders doing buy and sell orders, remotely. I had no idea I could do immediate remote and choose the station I want to buy it at. It was just, I'm just so used to being docked and going, buy, and you're docked to the station, you're a noob, you want to buy something, and you just assume that it's you just assume that it's going to be MR, like the market hub. You just assume that way, and you just don't realize, looking at this, sometimes that somebody could undercut the market and they could be at Masaba, say. So if it gives you a choice, when you go buy, it would hurt a lot of Masaba feelings. Sniff. But yeah, it would be nice if that was the way. But the way it works now, as you saw, it's totally FUBAR. Jesus. Okay, well, let's go back, because that was weird when I had the, whoops. Oh, this video is a mess, isn't it? So station, buy, right. That was the error message, right. Got it. So if I'd set, it's also, you have to set your, solar system, you'd have to set this for region, but if you set it for station and you went by this type, it would lock you into. So that's another reason they should actually do it this way, because if you set default, yeah, it's just, there's so many layers of incompetence here, of the default thing, the error messages, the wording of the skill, the actual way it works versus docked versus undocked, the schizophrenic, why, it's like, it's just ridiculous. It's like, no wonder JITA scammers aren't dealt with by ignoring local or blocking local by option, because they're a bunch of dicks. And it's just, when you look under the surface, you find something and it just breaks immersion, you're like, that's weird, and then you investigate it, you're like, what kind of mentality goes through CCP? It's been over how many, almost 2 decades now, and they're just like, they have not fixed this. They haven't looked at it and saw a problem. And I didn't see it because I thought it was a freaking problem doing the buy, and then I just didn't want to deal with it. And personally, the way it's working, I'm just absolutely not gonna do it, because it's like, just open, it's less clicks. Go open view order, You can't, there's no ability to set the default, you know? Why can't we, what if we can set the default when we're trying this, and we can set the default for solar system or region, why can't we set the default for other things? That's going to happen when we frickin' press buy. Why can't we do that? Yeah? Why can't, when we're doing this, why can't we station, solar system, region, fill it by skills, fill it by CPU and some untrained skills, filter by, like, there's, have another line, just go freaking prefer market hub. That should by default prefer market hub, like Amar. Why don't they do that? Why can't they go prefer market hub and perimeter too? Don't forget perimeter and ASHAB, the TTTs. Why can't we set, prefer market hub, manage market, just like the root. Manage freaking root. We have avoidance lists. How often do you look at the avoidance list? Hell, not often, but it's useful. Yeah, manage freaking market hub. Preferred stations. You go in, you can go like avoid Masaba or it would just be gamed, but you could just set, instead of ignore or avoid, you could just choose, choose your preferred hubs, and you could put in Ashab, and you can put in Amar, and when you're in the frickin' region, it would select those over, say, Masaba, or whatever the hell it is. You go, you could set it for region, yada yada, and if you didn't have the skill, this is ridiculous that they probably tied it to this. It's probably working this way because in order to do this, they would have to separate the code, and I think the code is like enmeshed in each other, and they're not able to separate immediate and advanced. They don't have by this type simple, by this type advanced. By this type place by order or place cell order. It should literally give you that option in this drop down, and it doesn't, and that's an indication that the spaghetti code is, incest is best. It's like, thanks CCP for screwing us over, but this stuff is beta level crap. You should have seen the escrow system back when it was just, you might as well shoot yourself in the head. It was just begging for exploits, and yeah, it was. And guess who was begging for it? CCP. All right, so that's what that would be the ideal. And if you look at this way, you can go, the code is there. The system is there. We've done it here. Manage root. How hard is it to go add preferred system, and filter by preferred system, preferred market, you could do that. And it would be super helpful because say you're trying to support an Astor House market, or a Citadel market. You could set in your region that market, and it would prefer it. If it was close, it would prefer it. Why wouldn't it? Closer, lowest price on that market it would give you that option. And if you go, yeah, you're ripping me off, well, you shouldn't be in that alliance. But, you know, why couldn't you? It would be great to support your in-house traders and industrialists. Why wouldn't you want to do that for slight market? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yeah, and now we have Upwells to do it. Why wouldn't you? The motivation is just there. And it's just, yeah, this is totally pie in the sky, and it's never going to happen. But it would be freaking cool, wouldn't it? And it just begs the question. It's there. They have the potential. There is the code. I'm not talking about something like fucking magical unicorn bullshit. This is not Candyland. This is not Candyland. This is not Candy Mountain. This is actually, I'm not screwing you guys over with a bullshit, not thought out, not relevant mechanic. I'm looking at the mechanic saying, how can, this is there, it's possible, why don't we do it? It makes more sense. It would not, like, how many times as a noob have you bought stuff that's just not at your station or not at the hub that you were expecting? So why wouldn't, why would you have, no, it's because people want to get you to come out there so they can gank you. It's just, yeah. I was just going to tack this on as I'm glad I didn't, because I would have totally screwed up the wording. But I'm glad I went through the steps of looking at everything. And I'll probably forget this. Ignorance is bliss. I don't want to think about it anymore because I'll just still use market order. But wouldn't that be cool? And here's the thing. It's like there's so many, like the corp infrastructure. The corp infrastructure. They fiddled with it years ago and made it insignificantly better. But it's like, where is it? Home group members. Okay, so this is the nightmare. So you've got roles, you've got role manager, you've got whatever. You got title management of 16. Is it? Yeah, 16 different titles you can make. It balloons. It starts to just get crazy. It's just bananas, and it's like so opaque. Pretty much a cult. It's basically an occult art, and yeah, and the ways to, if you're director, you can do so much damage, but it's like so confusing. You need help, and the only way to help somebody is to make them a director. And yeah, it's called Safari. When people go on Safari, it used to be go into a corp and start shooting the members, because when you're a corp, you couldn't change the default. You couldn't make it illegal to shoot each other in space, and that's what happened. They just gank orcas. They come into the corp and they'd have a Gnosis, and they'd just jump in the Gnosis and they'd blow away the orca or any orca, and they'd laugh, and you'd be able to do nothing. And they were in space. You couldn't get rid of them. You literally could not kick them from a corp when they were in space. They had to be docked, and it was just. Yeah, it's the mind-blowing levels of griefing that was possible without even half thinking about it. And these people had years to learn all the tricks. And it wasn't any skill levels on their part. It was, you could literally fly a freighter sideways through loopholes, and you still can't. And it blows me away of how many griefing, laughably stupid loopholes are there for the lazy griefers who have zero risk to them. If you steal from a corporation, if you steal from like the corporate hangars, and you take something, there is no record of it. the only way you can have this is to have, well, just get an audit container. It's like, have you ever tried to use one of those effectively? Yeah, it is long walk off a short pier, buddy. You know, it's the most. It's a band-aid on a compound fracture, basically. See that bone? Just stick a band-aid on it. It's no problem. So yeah, there is no ability to find out who stole your stuff. Yeah. Drain the wallets, sure. You could find out who did that. But as far as somebody taking and putting into your corp hangers, nothing. Zero. You got no audit. Unless you use the mind-bogglingly stupid audit containers. And it gets worse than that. It's just, I just don't want to go into the container access and take ability, because it starts to get stupid. Just trust me, it's opaque, it's mind-boggling, and you'll rip your hair out when you try to start messing with it. And it's like, this is literally not been changed since beta. I haven't even dealt with it since beta. And you have to think, what kind of mindset? And this is how I treat CCP. It's like, literally, I'm not being a dick. I'm not being a bitter vet. I'm just looking at the facts, on the ground. It has been 10 years. A little bit more now. It's getting up to that 10 years of Hillmore actually eating humble pie. And you have not looked at the situation. Turn to your community after on the 10-year anniversary and not gone, this is what we learned since then. This is what we have done to the spaghetti code beta level software since release. The reason they don't is because it's embarrassing. Literally, this is what happened. They, like the expansions, I'll literally list out the expansions for you. It's Eve expansions. Oh, cute. Pornhub didn't come up on the search drop down there. Not lol. Okay, so it was Incarna. And then Crucible. Crucible was mind-blowing. Like, I came back to the game just before then, and that, what's going on with this? I wasn't actually there for the riots and stuff. And I don't think I was there for the apology. I think I might have been. I didn't quite understand the hoopla, because I hadn't seen the leaked documents and the leaked memo and the leaked email by Hillmar poo-pooing everything. But I was here for this, and this was the most amazing expansion the game has ever had. Like, literally, it was just mind-blowing, the dev direction about fixing things. And then Inferno was like a whole bunch of new things. They're like weed, Vordeck, and stuff, and you're like, new shiny thing feeling, and it started to get really uncomfortable. Your intuition was like, they didn't even last one patch, and it was like, oh god. And new Crime Watch. And it's like and it was just, after that, it just became new, and it was like, before Incarna, it was, you got the feeling every patch was, look, new shiny thing, don't pay attention to the bugs. And that's the feeling you got. They weren't interested in anything but new patch. And it's like their brain set was just hardwired onto this micro focus of next patch, new things. And you're like, that's exactly what the patch looks like, guys. Why are you trying to fool us? It looks so transparent. It looks so hype for the new thing. And you're like, why are you it was like the lady doth protest too much, methinks. Every time I patched them, it was like, uh-huh. This is not marketing. This is not appealing to your shareholders. You're literally trying to avoid fixing things. And it's just like, well, that doesn't make money. It's like, yeah, but it's the metrics. Like decades ago, back in freaking 2000, we were playing MMOs back then. Like there was this game called Jumpgate, and the refrain that the Care Bears used that we were maligned, we didn't. It wasn't. My understanding wasn't quite at the level of both sides are grief averse, and both sides want high reward, low risk kind of thing. The spectrums, it hadn't quite polarized. We were just, it was just a pejorative, you know. When you heard this, it was just a hot button issue and just flinging mud at each other, right? But when you got down to it, you're like, oh, lost my train of thought. Oh, just talking about. I was talking about the next patch, shiny thing. The mindset, they're micro focused on this, and they're literally trying to avoid fixing what's broken. Oh, right. What the Care Bears would say, the griefers would always say, this game is about PvP. This game is PvP. And you would see them. When the devs would come in to the chat channels in game, the amount of ass kissing would just be relentless from the PvP griefers. And you're like, and this was Help Channel, and back then the Help Channel was full of elite little shitheads who would say, somebody would come in and they would say a question, hey, how do you blah blah blah, and the elitist little pricks would give him a suggestion for the most hot, you'd have to have million, just way beyond his pay grade, and he'd know that, and he'd be polite and go, okay, thanks, and then he'd just leave, probably the game too. And the PvPers would be like, yeah, we just helped out somebody, oh, so cool. And it's like, you just condescended this guy, and you're patting yourselves on the backs. And the Care Bears, on the other side, would try to help people. We just literally, and some of them were just didn't care. I'd meet people who were Care Bears who just literally were sociopaths. Anyway, so that's MMOs for you. But basically, our argument was, look, you're looking, well, we didn't know the word metrics back then, that CCP is just hyper focused on, like extra credits, data, there it is. All right, so
much of today's game.
All right, so extra credits talks about metrics and data and looking, and their monthly, oh look, we got the economy report, and you're like, that's just metrics. And you're like, yay, and they're all about selling the new expansion, and that sounds like it's like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. They designed CBT to pass the government tests, and to pass the government tests you have to show effectiveness, right? But the CBT assumes that you are omniscient about everything that goes on in your body, including your liver, and you should follow the logical corollaries of everything. They assume omniscience of your brain, and that's not how life works, but that's how passing the test does. And so anything they can see is a metric, and that's what sucks you into this idiotic loop and just plays right into the PvPers' griefers' hands. It's because Care Bears understand that their friends are leaving and not saying anything. They're just taking their wallet and they're leaving. It's called the wallet. What is it? The wallet walks, or the wallet does the talking, or yeah, I think the wallet does the talking. It's like, yeah, it's like the wallet, when it leaves, isn't tracked. It's not a metric anymore. So they don't track how many are leaving, because all they see is subscription numbers and going, oh, subscriptions are up, or the login times are great. Yeah, that's you idiot. That's because of the pan. Do you remember during the pandemic, CCP was glowing with pride about how their numbers were growing, and they're like taking all the credit. You're like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But it was like, they are so micro-focused on pleasing their investors that's they're just, it's just like this. Yeah, they're just so brainwashed by the metrics. It's like, your investors aren't brainwashed by their metrics. They look at this and they go, that's great that you're making money, keep going. If you don't, it's like, you are not going to hold us hostage by making us believe this bullshit. And yeah, the wallet talks. And it's like, every patch, it was like, we're doing something new. And it's like, why don't you fix the old stuff? And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't. It's because it's not being tracked by the metrics. They just don't realize that they are, like, say Stellaris. It is a bag of hammers. Oh my god. I love the game. Played it a lot. And I made a review about it. And I said, look, once you, the game is it's just amazing. But the reason it's got so many damn discounts is because once you scratch the surface, it's so stupid. It's trying to be a roguelite game. They have so many backstabby bullshit end of game things that you're like, that's dumb. And their DLCs are just another hammer in the bag. It's like, why would we trust your DLCs if you don't take care of your base game? And that's the thing that surprised me, the candor of these idiots when they're so, like, transparent. They think, they don't give people data because they're very proprietary, but when they go out and condescend with Q&As or ask me anythings, you ask them questions, and the questions they choose is, most of it's like pandering to the multiplayers, but they're not offering the multiplayers anything. It's just fluff. And the few actual questions, it's like, well, it's not making us money, or it's not improving disliked DLC. We want to improve that. And you're like, that's all your mindset is. That, oh, that DLC got mixed. We want to improve that. And you're like, well, maybe it's got mixed DLCs because all you care about is improving that. And you don't know how, because your game is shite. You're a bag of hammers, and you're just throwing more hammers into it. And you're trying to fix those hammers with what? A ball pen hammer? It's like, they screw with the mod makers all the time. And it's like, wait, this is your mod. The mod makers can only fix as much as they can fix, but they speak to something deeper. And the things that you're like, Stellaris recently, there's a meme about it too. What they did was, there was an issue with the lag at the end of the game when the pops were just going crazy. And what they did was pretty much half the pop counter and like plateau it, I think, and tie pop growth into total pop count all across your entire space, which is absolutely retarded. But that was their fix, and it's just like, that's worse than the cure. No, I mean, that's worse than the poison. It's like, what the hell? And it's like take CCP. When did CCP tie-dye? I'm not familiar with tie-dye. I don't go to nullsec. CCP tie-dye. When? There it is. 10 years ago. We are talking 10 years. And I would honestly like to know, if I ever asked CCP a question, they allowed me to, and they were honest about it, I'd be like, what have you done? It's been 10 years. What have you done with time dilation? Seriously, what have you done to improve the ability for people to beyond hardware? Don't give me bullshit about, oh, the latest upgrade to our hardware. It's like, no. What have you done to optimize this and find alternatives alongside time dilation? What alternatives to time dilation do you even conceive? Is there alternative? Have you guys been bouncing around alternatives to tie-dye? Because, it might see back before tie-dye, you would try to lower your you cut out the brackets, you cut as many HUD items as possible, you'd try to streamline what you're doing, and you'd be very careful and pray that you loaded system, because otherwise you just had a blank screen of, you're jumping into the system or you're loading system, and you're already populated and you're being shot and killed, but you're still loading. The side that caught there first would have control, right? And so that was an issue, a huge issue. And they fixed it by making time dilation, which, of course, the goons exploited, because goons, whatever. I'm sure goons aren't the only ones to exploit this. I'm sure the other side did too, but goons have been around forever and they know all the tricks, and they're not afraid of using them. Because, their CEO didn't get banned for encouraging somebody to kill themselves at a fan fest when he was drunk, and he got forgiven for it. It's like they can literally get away with murder and they're not permabanned. It's like, these people are scum and they should have been permabanned, and that should be it. There should be an apology. They should have fixed that whole Bob thing right away and said, look, this is not what we intend our game to. The direction this game went is against everything moral, and we're sorry. And the fact that they allowed the goons to make a corp that blocked, Banner Brothers from reforming is just, it was just, yes, we support a game that allows people to pour salt in wounds and publish stories in PC Gamer and proudly talk about Guiding Hands social clubs, great contracted hit on blah blah blah. No, it wasn't. It was just they picked somebody because he was vulnerable, and it was just random, and they toyed with him until ganking him at random whenever they liked. Done. And then they made this big convoluted role play story that nobody bought. Yes, we had a contract against him. No, you didn't. You're a bully. You picked on him. And I'm sure Hilmar is still glowing with pride about that long first. It's like everybody's family around here, and it's friendship is the best. Ship is, what is it? Friendship is the best ship. Friendship is the best ship. And meanwhile, they release freaking, what is it? We knew the writing on the wall when they showed this back in 2012. At least 2012. Yeah, 2012. And that's when we realized they did not give a flying crap about the community. That they were giving the finger to the entire community, going, we support the people who kiss our ass, and that's it. We support people who encourage people to commit suicide and stuff the CSM with ass kissers and manipulate us without us knowing for unintended, but they intend, obvious loopholes, and that they take advantage of until finally there's an outcry and we take care of the exploit and ban a bunch of people, and it's like, you're a bunch of morons who love your ass kiss. You don't watch the wallets leaving, doing the talking, and you just look at your metrics and masturbate, and that's it. And they lie and they scream during meetings, and the squeakiest wheel gets the oil, and it's just literally sweaty meetings, and it's just corrupt as hell. They're idiots. Hilmar's locked in as CEO. The contract with the Koreans was that he can't be fired, and that should have been that. When I saw that, it was like business as usual. We're gonna have effed over, and yeah, it's just they do not forget. I'm not making this stuff up. Just listen to this video. It's not my hyperbole. I'm just trying to. In fact, I'm understating the issue. It's like the only reason I play this game is it's the only thing going right now that's an MMO that isn't, World of Warcraft. I like the fact they're a-holes in the game, because what's an a-hole gonna do to you in the game? Seriously, it's a game. It's not supposed to be Dr. Evil level of in it. This game is not supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be dark, and gothic and dystopian, and it's cool that it's dystopian, and it's cool that it works, because the players just go along with the mechanics, and the mechanics allow us to trade with each other, and we make it happen. And it's just, we just do our own thing. And CCP pretends it's relevant and gets really pissy and has temper tantrums when we don't take it seriously. And then they make jokes about, internet spaceships is serious business, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're being pejorative against, anybody who looks at this game and asks honest questions. It's a game. It's like, why wouldn't we sit down and go, there's something really screwed up with doing this, and it's so simple. We're just talking about simple things, and it's like, you just play the game, and it's like, next patch, blah blah blah, and it's the same shitty thing, and it's like, hurry the fuck up, and it's like this stamp, they're a bunch of lemmings. Lemmings actually don't go off cliffs. That's just a myth. But yeah, people say, oh, this game is ending. No, it's not. It's got the threshold to be a viable business. And when, according to the research, which I don't really trust, especially coming from talking in stations, but I'm estimating that probably a quarter of the player base or the subscriptions dropped at the Summer of Rage. And that is something that needs to be recognized and not made fun of. Taking the worst of, it's like, I am not going to recommend this game to anybody. I've never done so. I had some really huge issues about showing this game to people when I warped through planets in the past, because it would just be like you warp through cardboard. And especially stations too. But they made it, after I made that complaint, they changed it so it kind of blurs when you go through planets, which is really, really cool. So I can show a friend my game and not cringe and have them go, oh, that's weird. Aesthetically, it's, at the same time, there's other aesthetic things that need to be done, like the arrangement of the asteroid belts. Why doesn't it look like it? Why is it like a fixed arc that doesn't look, even pretend to look like it's, kind of in alignment to the nearest orbital celestial, right? That always hit me when I first started playing the game. And it's like basic stuff like this. It's like, this is really immersion breaking. Could you just alter a little bit so it's not so jarring? But they've not, because it's always been like CCP Fozzie. when he was in the Alliance tournaments, you just wish he'd just shut up, because everybody else had something decent to say about, insightful, but he was just like, "Blah, blah, blah," and you were like, fucking shut up. And yes, him swarming his way into CCP is just, he's not the fault. It's just a symptom. It's not Mitani's fault that he wasn't permanent banned. It's CCP's fault. I mean, why bash? It's like the tail of the scorpion on the wolf's back, or whatever, that crossing the river. He's like, he can't help it. It's his nature to be a douche. They brag on their home forums, the something awful forums. They brag about destroying games. It's, hello, it's not like you were, allowing this thing to happen blindly. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, it's just simple things. Just asking honest questions about simple things is, you're not supposed to take it seriously. It's like, why not? Eve is a lifestyle. We are playing a screensaver with a built-in chat function, staring at a corner of a room, alone, talking to ourselves. Isn't that the definition of crazy? If you can't have a joke about that, and you get incensed about that, well, yeah, reality's gonna hit you hard. But yeah, it's just these people, after Incarna in the Summer of Rage, the next year, came out with Harden the Fuck Up. And they went right after that one patch, they went right back to the usual bullshit. And it was just, it's just amazing that, like the Stellaris example, that they cannot conceive of changing the base game because it's not a DLC that makes them money. It's like, but your base game is the thing that draws people into trusting buying DLCs. I bought 2 DLCs, Apocalypse and Utopia. And I tried to rip out a Utopia, but I realized a few of their Ascension stuff I really counted on in the late game, and actually the mid game. So I was like, oh, crap. Then I had to deal with their orbital habitats. You're like, oh wow, cool, new districts and stuff like that. No, it's just this stupid mini creatable planet. And the instant that happened, when I built one of them, and I'm like, you mean I'm gonna have to deal with spam from the NPCs when I try to take over their territory? Are you kidding me? Because when you expand, their choke point is influence. There's the thing called influence, that you buy everything else in the market but influence, and it's a passive thing, and you're stuck. There are a couple of mods that increase it reasonably, like double it. You can't buy it off the market, but it's the point. It's like, wait, I'm at the point where I can absorb things without screwing up my entire market system. Because when you absorb NPC empires, they're completely destabilized. They have deficits that just tank your economy, and you have to repair it. So it's just, Jesus. It's like, oh man. And they can't think up ways of getting around that. It's like, well, it's best if you slow down the game. It won't. It's like you are placing restrictions on people's gameplay, and they're getting much better once they play the game once, and they play it again, and they're getting better. It takes literally an hour to expand your empires, and you're like, I have an impossibly huge fleet compared to everybody else. I can raffle stomp everybody. I know it's going to hit me in the fields when I expand to that territory. Freaking let me claim those areas so I can capture them at the end of this war that I've got. It's a great mechanic. I loved it at first, but after a while you're like, wait, this is stupid. And this is the way with Eve. It's like, they don't want to fix the base game. But it's like, there are some serious issues with me wanting to, like, CCP's DLCs. They're basically skins that or Plex, if you want to spend, if you want to plex yourself into a carrier and buy skill extractors and fly a carrier and try to jump it to high sec and get ganked on the gate because you're an idiot and you don't have any freaking fuel at all. And you don't even know what an ozone thing is for sinusoidal jumping. And it's like, so you're telling me a free-to-play game with Omega status for subscription can't have reasonable DLCs like, I don't know, a basic blue for all ships? Buy a basic blue skin for a ship. Why can't you do that? Why can't it? You go in the Eve store. See, you could just easily buy some Plex for ISK, go on the Eve store using the Plex instead of the Aura that they used to have before they combine it with Plex. You could go on to the Eve store, purchase as a gift for one of your other characters, buy a whole bunch in mass, then gift it off, while you're doing it, and then they can remote activate those skins for a basic blue or a basic yellow or a basic red or a basic green, or or even, why can't they have like expert systems? Why can't they have, like, create your own freaking skin expert system? For limited time, you could create a skin and then sell it. Why couldn't you do that? Because when you buy skins off the store, it's not like, well, they could do expert systems that would lock it to your own character. That would be smart. Stuff like that. Expert system for skin making for your own character. And you could rent that, make your skin, bam, done. Like basic blue, basic whatever. Maybe a little hologram or something, a fixed choice, something. That would be cool. That kind of DLC would appeal to people, and like, look, we're not going to release this base game. Because it's a luxury item and we sell skins in the store. You can't make skins in game. It would make sense to most people. It's like, I don't care about skins, but some people like me would be like, I would buy that for each character, do it, and then walk away from it. I wouldn't need to buy it again. I just, if I got a new ship, I'd be like, oh crap, I bought new ships. I didn't think I'd be fine. I need to do it again. I can't make skins for every ship in the game. Some people might, but I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, I'll, spend $5 for a week of this and only need it for a day, but whatever. Thanks a lot, and you do it and done. And it's been when are they first care-induced thingies? I mean, how long ago was it? Eve skins. I mean, seriously, it's been how long, right? Eve skins. Eve skins. Eve online. Care skin. There we go. That'll do it. Freaking hell. Oh, wait. I think I found it. Give me a sec. All right. Mosaic. Right. What year was that, please? Okay. 6 freaking years ago. 6 freaking years ago. Just think about it. 6 years. Jesus Christ, I was 40 back then. 6 years ago. I got married then. Jesus. Anyways, just ridiculous amount of time, and look what we've got for skins. A dog's freaking breakfast. It's like, it's just, you're releasing new skins all the time. I wish. And yeah, it's just, I don't need to explain to you how idiotic after 6 years they haven't improved the base system of the skins. It's like, why not? I just suggested expert system. Why can't we make a new skin? Why can't we make a new skin? Like, for ourselves, it's like, you give us a limited amount, like basic colors, basic maybe holograms, basic design, basic stuff. Is it that hard? Is it gonna be something that Goon can exploit to lag the system and create hellish conditions for nuking it out of the game? Well, they would never be defeated, because the only way to defeat an alliance is how Goons do it, by metagaming it. That's it. So yeah, making it hell on earth to take people out and slow down the game and lag systems out. It's like, but you have skins in the game anyways. What the hell is the difference? How do skins hurt game performance? How much by? Can people like Goons take advantage of it? Of course they can. Probably with containers and alpha accounts, spamming the system, blah, 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 blah. You know, all this stuff. Get over it. Do it. It's like, these are great suggestions. You put it in the features and ideas. And have you looked? I just recently looked at the features and ideas forum, and it's 2017, the small little things, and you scroll down, you're like, wow, those are really good ideas, and there's only like 7 or 8 likes to them, and you're like, well, that's because everybody hates, anybody who's got two brain cells to rub together avoids the forums like the plague. Yeah, literally. And it's like, you're getting low likes, not because people don't want it to happen, it's because hardly anybody, YouTube views versus likes, and people like me avoid the forums like the plague, and people have their own ideas, and it's like, independently we'll all come to the same conclusion. Some of these ideas are really cool, but basing we're not going to do nothing because it's less than half a dozen likes with a 200,000 subscriber level, blah blah blah, and it's like, get a grip. Go play the game sometime. Without having your ass being kissed by the local PvPers who love the content when you fly into the system with bling ships and get blown away, and all the noobs following you along get murdered. It's just... yeah, I think I've petered out now. Anyways, yeah. Ranty. Yeah, so many basic things with this game are so effed up. And the complicated things like Wardex, Ideal, and other videos, I'm still testing them to this day. Just the it's not the subtle ways, it's just the boneheaded things, the loopholes of things that just should be common sense but aren't. That are just, why the hell? So yeah. Anyways, that's enough out of me.